Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my stream. Call me a liar, you idiot? You would do that? You? Alright, well, it's at least number 42. Okay. So every time we see switch, not one, not set, we've got to do something like set deaths. Oh, it's got to be like deaths. I'll probably have to once again reference the triggers from Stormborn. We're going to start things off just by doing that, because I want to get that done so that I can actually progress in this particular map. So this was for the actual triggers themselves. So it was player 8 has suffered at least 4 deaths of Ellen Shazar. I don't know what... I guess we can just make that the case, right? We can say deaths. What's a player we're not using? I think 3 is not being used, right? It's rescuable. You can use player 3. So how's stuff going with you anyway, UED? UE3? We're gonna have to do this. Current player set to 1. Alright, fuck this. We're just gonna actually do one of these triggers as a sample. We need to figure out... It looks like victory dialogue and victory were still separate triggers. I don't remember how I fixed that problem from before. Well, I didn't fix the problem from before, which is kind of the issue. Who knows how it will work. So I think we can do Mongo destroyed, Crack destroyed, Ally destroyed. Main attacked. good there. So then instead of this, we can do set deaths, current player, set to 1, place office regard. Set to 0. That's the other thing I have to do at some point is move all of the AI transmissions of enemies attacking. Okay. And then wait, where are those transmissions? Maybe I already did that. Oh, I did. Cool. Glad I was able to fix the bug with them not compiling correctly. Okay. So, I'm trying to think of how I want to go about this. So we have the guards in there now. So now I think we just go through and manually edit the... Maybe it would be better to not do that, though. Let's see. Well, I do think that one thing that has to get culled is this, right? We've got to completely remove switch 1 not set. Okay, that did it. Okay. Alright. That should do this. My main concern is finding an efficient way to put these changes in. I'm thinking when we have... Well, let's just see how it goes for replacing the main transmissions. We'll worry about the rest after. So how did we do the setups here? Go back up here. So there were 2 separate triggers for each one. It was the condition, and then add 1 for Alan Cheser, and then add 2 for Alan Cheser for this one, because that's how it would work there. So Armin's set were that way, basically. So in this case, all this is meant to do display, or no, set depth. Layer 3. Add 1 or I can literally add anything for this player because they're not in the game, so they don't have any deaths ever. Okay. And then there's deaths. At least one of that. And force 1 exactly 0. Oh yeah, police officer guard. And then we would do 3, add 3. That. Right. Oh no, it's not 3 in this case, it's 2 because there's 2 human players. That seems wrong to me though, like add 1. It runs thrice. Oh yeah, never mind. I already went over that with him. Okay, so then the conditional for this is player 3 has suffered at least 3 of this. Okay. Alright, that's easy enough. Then we just do this. Let me do player 3, add 1 moderator. Alright, this is fairly straightforward, just a little time consuming. And then this becomes alright, 9 gag patron. Say at least 3. Okay. You end up surviving all of the lectures, I assume? Switch 11. I think this was before, yeah, so this is just bring force 1, brings latest. Even though this is a really ridiculous thing to have to do in order to make this stuff work properly. Oh wait, this is correct main, right? Mongo main, actually. Even though this is a ridiculous thing to have to do, I still am okay with. I'm really glad that we found a way to make it happen. I guess is my best way to put that, because like it's just so refreshing to not have to worry about never being able to properly set up triggers for multiple human players, because that was the worry, is it would be impossible to get it done. I wonder how those switches were even being set before. Because there's no trigger to set it based on anything else in here, so force 1. This is Mongo Natural, so I still can't believe how, relatively speaking, the triggers worked out so well in Stormborn. That was the first time, it was the debut of this system that we're using now, and the idea that it worked basically on first try. I only flubbed like 2 or 3 triggers in terms of like the text not matching the voice line that was playing. There was one other error where there was a Phoenix transmission that didn't have the what's it called? The always display flag set. Like that screwed me over at some point. But it was just so easy. Oh wait, no, that's player 3. Spammer, server, patron, moderator, forum. Oh yeah, so this is subscriber. Just gonna double check all the sets real quick. Let's add 2. This one is supposed to be set. Also add 2. Add 2. And the arms should be add 1. Though I guess that's within the margin of error, so not that big of a deal. Okay. I should change the condition for that anyway, though. Player 3 has suffered at least 1 death, so augment turret. And force 1. Oops. There we go. I need to make sure it's Force 1 that claims the kill, and not Mongo or something. Like, Mongo and Crack are unallied to each other, so there's a chance that they attack each other before anything else happens. Would be nice if I didn't destroy my cord for my phone charger. Alright, where are we at right now? Mongo's clan. Okay, so I'll just do the Crack clan now. Oh. But easy enough to fix anyway, because I just have to change the conditional for 1 trigger. Okay. It's actually not too many more of these, but I don't think there was a issue. Let me look at the... That's the AI attack 2 setup. I can take a look at that later on. But like... Yeah, it doesn't look like there was actually an issue at any point with the triggers. Yeah. I only needed to worry about the in-game, like the per-map transmissions for that, so that's easy enough. Team rescues a building. Okay. Oops. Okay.
Can you see those diamonds? So what you hit deep inside.
Okay, Mongo main, crack main, Mongo, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we only have a handful left. I'm gonna have to increase the duration of death sprites in Todborne as well. Alright. We have to do Donut killed, then Crow killed. I think we can change this to Force 1 instead of Player 1. I knew I was forgetting something at this point. Oh. I off-counted, apparently. That's supposed to be Clubhouse. Convention Center. So where did I fuck up then? Crack's Clan was Midget Salesman. Rescues a Building was Clubhouse. Convention Center. Everything seems right there. Okay. Just me Mongolizing some math, I guess. Pranked. Just a small handful now. That's gonna have to be changed anyway. Actually, I might have to change that as well. What was the, Is it bring? No, it is command. Okay. Of course, the breakpoint is 3, and I'm using player 3. Why would it be anything else? What's up, Veek? Nice trigger. What the fuck? One more to go, and we are good. Though I am going to have to convert the other triggers at some point, I think. All right. Police officer 0. I've had to do that so many times. I really hope I didn't fuck it up somewhere, because it's going to be really annoying to debug. Oh. Instead of that, we're going to do set deaths. Current player. Add 1. Power generator. Let's say. Force 1. At least 3. Power generator. All right.
Hey, man.
What's up, Balethal? All right. Probably take a look at those triggers later on. All right, so what exactly do we have to worry about here? Okay, so I think you missed the Mapcrap playthrough streams, but there were some interesting things there you might find exciting. Yeah, all in all. I wish I had time to finish mine. Unfortunately, I had to drop out because I really needed to get some sleep. I was up late trying to make shit work, and I realized I wanted to write custom AI, do all the terrain work that I did for Ashworld, place all of that terrain work in an aesthetically pleasing way, and have a functioning layout that I liked. Like those two I did get done, but I didn't have time to do custom AI, and I also wanted to mod and like basically add in a very heavily modified Zerg race for the player to control. Like doing all that in the time that I actually had was a big overreach on my behalf. So I like combining that with my poor time management with my feature creep and my I was a little sick at the beginning of the whole event. And just like one thing led to another. Did not end up working out too well. But we still had some pretty fun times in general. It was interesting submissions. Right, yeah. I was also trying to get a little bit of work done on some other projects. And also doing some family stuff and all that, so. Alright, so I think for this I have to use the text trigger editor. So we'll try that. And we'll say Darien defends. We'll find that. Okay, Darien defends 01. And I want to get a text trigger. I should have set up the first trigger so that it worked like this. But of course, I neglected to do that. And so we'll say force 1 has suffered exactly 0 disregard. All right. But where is... There's a skip. I don't remember where it is. At least. Starting cracking it. Yeah, okay. Cool. What the... Reasonable thing to start. Yeah, Bethel. Those maps were really, really... I mean, the tile set, rather, was really good. I'm glad that I was able to do that. I think it worked out pretty well. So. Oops. And you were saying it would make sense to reuse those systems. It would. I've decided that it makes sense to allow people to use old mods or pre-existing content, and I'm going to be releasing Hydra's game state for people to use, as well as just framework with modern hotkeys and some other stuff. Okay, so this is at least. Cancel triggers. Now, in theory, we would only have to do this for sense attack general. I feel like I missed this. Oh, well, this one is crack, so that would be why. Specific. No, I didn't, I guess. I thought it was... Oh, no, because it's the 6 deaths, but that's technically 7. That's right. Reasonable. Well, that is something to blow a lot of money on, I suppose. So this is what? Crack attacks general. Add this in. Oh. It's supposed to be this one. Well, it's also like, for me, I feel like the best way to go about doing it is to do something that... What's the term? Like, I want people to be able to actually come away with... from their submission feeling like they were able to practice some important skills. You know what I mean? Or feeling like they're better off than they were before. And I don't think you can... Like, I feel like anything that gets in the way of that... Because it's meant to be a workshop. It's meant to be this place where people can improve their skills in that sense. So. There's supposed to be a Mongo attack skip somewhere here. Is there no Mongo skip? Daring defends, daring attack specific, general. General. Huh. Okay, well, I can make one real quick anyway. No, that's fine. So this is switch 6, layer 5. Oh, it's supposed to be switch 5. Switch 5, player 5, exactly 6, yeah. Okay. Alright, well, all the transmissions should work in multiplayer now, but of course I will test them in single player at some point. Veek said, already preparing for new triggering system. No, this is just, well, it's new in a sense. It's the transmission system for Stormborn. And the reason why I wasn't saving the file is because it's just my triggers that I copy-pasted. I wasn't really making significant changes. It's not like it was anything super important in that sense. Now, I will be rewriting the AI at some point, but this mission should be a bit better off now There's a couple of... There's like a pair of dialogue events that I want to get a better read on as far as changing up the... what was I just saying? I want to be able to fix the conditions for a pair of dialogue events. There's when you engage Crack and when you engage Mongo. I want to set a death in the AI scripts similar to how I did it for Stormborn. I think I can probably run an AI script for the human player. Like, there already is an AI script that's run for that. And that one can probably work out fine for our purposes here. Thought I had another folder open, but I guess not. So this is the revive one. So we multi-run, trig. Well, we'll say attack Mongo. Let's run attack Crack. Oh, hold on. I'll say exactly one. One. Two. Three. And then there's that. And we can add more shit to this as we see fit. Of course, Mongo 1 looks like Mongol, which is very pleasing to my eyes. So we'll say kills, I think 15 is force 1, 15, 4, 2, blank. Let me just duplicate this for that. Increment the number here. And then we go into the triggers for arming those transmissions. And we have team engages Mongo's clan. This will be player 5. Has suffered at least one death of police officer guard. And for Cracks Clan, it'll be the same thing. And for player 1, we also need to do all the way at the top, we do player 1. Oops. Set to 1 for police officer guard. And then I'm pretty sure the trigger that runs the AI script is below that, but I actually don't know. Where is that trigger anyway? This is for player 2. Oh. So player 2 is... Oh! Wait, what? Okay, so it's actually running for that then. So that means in our triggers for this, we need to... Player 2. And then in here... Where is it? It is 13, so that's fine. Okay. Cool. I really gotta go to the bathroom, so I'll be right back. Then we'll get some more work done. All right, we're back. You know what I was able to realize recently? Obviously, I'm not really super happy about the fact that I wasn't able to do much work on the map prep thing. Like, I didn't end up finishing it. But I actually think that that layout is pretty nice in general. Like, it's functional. It's just another way to keep my skills sharp. And obviously, the Ash World assets are a great benefit. But, yeah. I don't think it's too shabby there. So. I'll take it. And it looks like I actually disabled the Revived Darien trigger for some reason. Wonder why. Destroyed. Switch to yeah, I'm trying to go hunting for all of the all of the switches. Switch 1 was in transmission, but that's no longer in use now. Switch 12 and switch 13 are done. Switch 18, huh? I don't know what all the other switches were. I assume they were all for the dialogue events. Now we use deaths for those, so they're also freed up. All right. Yeah, we're doing good here, man. So you'll notice, or maybe you won't, but I'm saying it now, so you will. I've recently went through and replaced the starting geysers with actual coffee mines instead of the mining structure or whatever. I'm also all set with this, I think. We're gonna go ahead and shift this around. Because Mongo's base is so annoying to get into, but also it's really bad for him to actually get out of most of the time. So I have a feeling he will be It'll be improved if I end up shifting the layout like that. Like so. Okay. Beat of a shuffle. Beat of a shuffle, bat. Is that even possible to go down? Wow, that's a good bit. Ugly ass ramps. Oh, it looks like I never did the lower pathing for some of those. It's okay. What? Okay. All right. We got a little something going on over there anyway. I'm not really sure what the deal is with this one, though. Like, why do we need a raised platform? Right, yeah. Yeah, we were debating what we actually wanted to do some time ago with that sort of thing. Looks like I had a tile of some sort over here at some point. Oh wait, I think I know what happened here. Never mind, I have no idea. Ah, so far so good, Raw Flash. I'm just hanging, man. Trying to see what I can do here. Make this map look a little prettier. How about you? How are you doing? Well, it's definitely not a serious project, that's for sure. But I hope you have fun with it when it's out anyway. So I think I just deleted 3 buildings. So we have 15 units, but we have a set of triggers at some point. Doomed to neutral. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 10 buildings left. After all that. Which means the rescue a building thing should be 9 instead of 12. Well, you don't know what you're missing out on, man. All right. Got that. perspective on that seems a little warped for some reason. I don't know why. All right.
Hello, no one is available to take your call.
You.
Please leave a message after the tone.
You. Have you seen Stormborn? That's a serious map. Iquare and I worked on it recently. Yes, it's a pretty big change.
Hello.
Hi. Almost. I hope I can go back to that map and fix it up after all is said and done. It'll be nice. It's too easy right now. I don't think map size is really a problem. Feels pretty nice when I play it. My hair is about nipple length. I don't actually have a measurement. I'm gonna get it trimmed pretty soon because the ends are dead, but I pretty much just use when I shower I shampoo everything, but I condition only the roots, like the ends rather, not the roots, the opposite. So I start at like the back of the head and I condition from that point onward. I only wash my hair every other day as opposed to every day. But otherwise, I don't really do much with it. Like, it's nothing really in particular. It's just, I brush it a lot, I guess. But that's mostly just because I get triggered if it looks fucked. Then, you know, it's not really like anything to do with it. I think my scalp would actually be much healthier if I had short hair. But I haven't had short hair in, like, many years, so... Not sure if I'm ready to change that. These are unbuildable or no? They are unbuildable. Not a crazy fan of that, to be honest. Cracks in the ice could be neat for, like, they're walkable but you can't build on them. To add like an unbuildable layer to ice. I think that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I wanted Aldaris to be an enemy as instead of an ally, so that's what I went for. Oh, I see where that came from. Huh. Weird. Yeah, I think a lot of positions don't like it. I wear my hair up a lot, especially when it's warmer, so it still looks okay. Alright, so what can we check off? We just did the transmissions. I am going to have to redo the AI for this, though. Already started on that. Just added the cracks to the to-do list down below before you guys can't see that, but it's the terrain area. Okay, so oh yeah, I was deleting that. It looks like I even intended to eventually turn that into high snow, which is funny. It's like the same pattern that I normally put down when I'm going to be messing around with that area. Or that kind of terrain, anyway. We need that. It's really hard to see that you're placing the same tile on this tile set. It never looks like that's what it is. Odd. All right. You. All right. So what I'll do here is I will add a small little expansion. I'm gonna delete that too, and what we'll do is we'll just go in here and do the same. Gotta find that trigger again and subtract up another number. Oh yeah, the problem is though that... Well, the problem is manifold. I guess they'll have to be further out then. Yeah, I'll have to build it right there. I think. No, even that might not be enough. Yeah, they need one more up. I don't see a way to preserve the positioning of this thing. Alright. No, that's good. I thought they were the same tile, but I was mistaken. Alright, we got another res area over here. I don't imagine that actually changed the numbers for anything else because it's just minerals. So that's still... Well, I guess that one... Wait, no. That one has gas. I don't know how that happened. Okay. Those areas are fine. Probably put some doodads up on high snow when I have that tile type finalized. Okay. Okay. All right. So these are the old AI scripts. I say the first thing that I do when I sit down to write these ought to be to make... well, this is going to be funny. I'm going to make a duplicate version of the PyMSA's folder. And, does it really even make sense to do that? No. That doesn't. I just remember because there's like defaults and stuff. So, what we have here is, the Hydra unit defs. Alright. So... oops. Okay, so now we can launch PyAI. We gotta find the x equals y. All right. Officer. Bazooka. I'll leave whatever I'm not sure about later on. What else am I doing? Unarmed. It seems like somehow I deleted a huge swath of shit. I don't quite understand how. Alright, okay. I don't know what most of these things are. This is copier. Writer. Actually, I don't even know what unit ID Cullen is. I don't think he's that. He's unit ID 20. Oh, he is. Okay. I didn't make the building assets myself. If I could do that caliber of art back in 2018 or something, I would hope that I would be way better now and be able to cover most of this shit. These things, I think they came from Aatrox, and I just added the police shield to them. Sometimes grossly disrespecting the rules of engagement, of perspective. Since you wanted to see the map, though, I can show you them on stream. Huh? Okay. So this is the map. Player was playing a Zerg. Well, they were playing a Zitzun, led by Rexun, but I didn't have time to do all that. So you're playing a Zerg, in theory. And your main enemies are bottom right-hand corner and upper middle. As you can see, I didn't have time to finish detailing most of the map. Areas that look the nicest are in this area, generally speaking. But I did a significant portion of terrain edits to enable, like obviously I ported structure, but not only structure to asphalt, I also edited it so that structure would blend with high dirt, with just normal dirt. Not pictured is Ash World blend or asphalt blending with high dirt, which I also have in here. But that includes like all of the cliff doodads for structure, like here. And of course for asphalt in general. So layout. I mean, the best thing that you can do, generally speaking, is try to identify what you like about somebody else's work, and even if, like in this case, it might be mine in this example. But like, the good thing to do is like try to figure out what the I wonder if I can just do it this way. It won't matter. Yeah, it will. But yeah, if you can figure out what is the best way to, or like what is something that I have or somebody else has in terms of their maps that you like compared to your own work, like where you find something lackluster in your own work. Like I don't think that this is like a super strong layout overall, but I do think it's functional. Like pretty much the key thing that I always try to go for is having multiple pathways between areas. And usually I have some sort of image in my head of like how I could continue to morph all of this stuff. So while I was setting up some of these areas, I'd be like editing this area, and then I'd say, oh, well, it would be nice if there was a reverse ramp in here, because I would try to picture the gameplay in my head of how I would be playing these areas out and what interesting gameplay could look like in these areas. And there's definitely there's no replacement for actually testing your layout and taking some mock battles or whatever. Like one thing that you could do is you could unit test specific areas by quickly triggering some enemies to attack in a certain direction, or having a set of enemies pre-placed in an area and you're trying to attack into them or whatever. Like you can create these mock scenarios in your maps and quickly test them that way. And it won't be a facsimile. It will be a facsimile of the end user experience in a sense, but that can help you weed out like specific areas of your map that you're not happy with. Like you can figure out like, okay, what is stopping me from enjoying this? Is it not wide enough? Is it too wide and it's too easy for other armies to get in? Are there too many pathways? Not enough pathways? What exactly is the problem? And you can try to solve it in that sense. Like in this case, I have a feeling that at least this bridge here might be too narrow. There is an alternative right next to it, but like if you wanted to attack into here, you have many options, but they're all fairly narrow, whereas maybe one of them could be double-sized so that you have one option for bigger attack wave moving in, and other options would be more for smaller attack waves or something. Like there's small stuff like that I could see. Otherwise, there's the factor of like trying to make it look artistically cogent, and I definitely don't think that this map ended up doing that. Like ideally you would have more details like this where the roads are running off the edge of the map. There's nothing over here. There's nothing over here. Like these are two areas where I definitely, even up here in theory, would have been an area where I could have theoretically tried to make it so that the asphalt ran off the map and it made it seem like there were roads everywhere throughout the whole area. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough time for me to make the ramp. So the reverse ramp and the south-facing ramp that blends with asphalt that DF made, I was going to port it to this tile set, but I didn't end up getting a chance to do so. So in that case, it's like, okay, well, how can we improve that? It involves more asset creation. So what you're going to find is, generally speaking, you're very limited with Brood War default assets, and that goes a long way. Having your own assets, having some customization tools, having more decoration options, it goes a long way to characterizing your map as unique, because nobody's played an Ash World map with all of these details before, right? Because I just made them. So, presumably I'm the only one to ever make this particular blend. So that's probably another reason why my maps tend to feel better. It's just because visually they're distinct, they stand out, but they also tend to be fairly consistent, and I try to make it so that some elements of the environment tie themselves together. So, yeah, the Z level is having height is another thing. What I do like to do is do little stuff like this, where there's just like an upper raised platform in the middle of nowhere. I did this a lot in Stormborn as well. The raised jungle would be all over the place with ramps. Sometimes it would be a dead end, but most of the times you'd actually be able to go through the raised jungle and use it to flank in the middle of a battle, or use it to take on a defensive position while you masked up for an attack or something like that. Now, in practice, most people just mass carriers, so they pretty much neglected most of those areas. But the idea is still there, and it's a way to make it so that there's a bit more going on. In this particular case, this is also right next to a base, and so you have to kind of defend this if you're going to take this mineral only. And in that sense, it's probably better to make it so that there's a geyser or some other incentive to take that base, because it's pretty risky, actually, to hold on to as the player. And the same for this one, since there's all these different ways that enemies can come through. But, having, maybe I could have converted this shale into another bit of dirt structure that has a ramp on both sides, right? And it's like stuff like this over here where you see that there's areas that you can take a temporary and fleeting height advantage over your opponents and try to flank them in a certain way. I'm also particularly fond of this area where there is this expansion here, but there's ways that you can go through the expansion and down south, or you can get flanked and have your expansion taken out. Like, one thing I experimented with this map layout a lot was surrounding a lot of the expansions with high ground that could be traversed from the back door. So it's like actually designing them with a back door in mind in some ways, like over here as well. So you'll notice that it's like kind of a running theme in this map. Like even over here, you could go through the north and take this out if you wanted to. Obviously, this one can be protected from the south or attacked from the south. So I try to have more access. Like you can drop over here if you want to. I might have even made like a ramp, like filled this in and put an extended ramp here or something like that. Could have been good, right? So that's like an example of like the small tweaks that you can make after the fact. So that's like stuff where you can use to tie together. Again, it's like a gameplay theme in that sense, as opposed to an artistic one or a visual graphical one, but still something that you can use to level up your overall sense, right? This area also does it, but I'm not really fond of this base side in general, just because it's so far away. Like, it's definitely one that would favor the AI, but that's not why I'm not fond of it. I'm not fond of it because I actually wanted to do something different with this area, and I just didn't have the assets for it. I wanted to push up the high ground a little bit more and make it so that the structure was actually where the resources were, and then you were mining it from the low ground. But there was two different positions you could mine it from. You could either mine it from the north as the AI, or you could mine it from the south as the player if you wanted to, because it would be more accessible there. And I wanted to make it more like that, and I just didn't have the time to blend everything up and stuff. like I said, I already looked at your terrain generally speaking, and it doesn't seem like I can be of much use there, is the problem. So, like, based on what was said, anyway, you said that you were more interested in, like, again, it was a deliberate design decision, but, like, the biggest issue is, even though you used a lot more Z in this particular map, in terms of all these cliffs, it ended up resulting in a lot of spinning. And probably something that you didn't realize is that the Ashworld tile set is actually really bad for pathfinding in this case. Like, you have to really work to seal off these areas like you did here. Like, this is a airtight wall, but most of the time it's not. Like, you can actually move units all over the place, and the AI was doing that, and that was really confusing in the early game, both the enemies and the allies were. And so sealing those off with doodads or blends is utmost priority. It's something that I struggled with as well. I realized too late that that's something that Ashworld has that's just a pernicious issue. Another thing is that, of course, all of these decorative doodads that you placed here, they actually do block building, or at the very least they block pathing, so it added even more frustration, whereas in my tile set I changed that. I guess a generic suggestion I could give you for the magma is that, like, the reason why I used magma in a deliberate way is I tried to make it seem like it was an actual lake, and it was a formation stretching across the map, and that was actually part of the theme in that area, is like the visual theme anyway, is that there was a magma river or something. Whereas this seems very haphazard and just here to add more blocking, which is fine if that's what the gameplay is, but the difference between a map that really manifests itself as part of its, or manifests its visual themes, and a map that doesn't, is like a map that uses assets that tie everything together for the sake of blocking gameplay in some way, or serving some other gameplay purpose, like providing cover or whatever, and a map that just slaps it together, right? So in this case, the magma just is there to slap it together. You could have done the same thing with many other assets had they been in the game. There's nothing special about it being magma. There's nothing about the placing magma there that makes it unique, that does a unique job that only magma can do, if that makes any sense. So that can be something to watch out for, is like when you're placing something, consider, is this here establishing a visual theme that's unique to this tile or unique to this asset that only this asset can do, in addition to whatever gameplay purpose it will serve. That's what the structure and asphalt do that high dirt can't do, because you can't paint the picture of Terran presence here to the same degree without that. So that's like the visual theme there. The magma river can only be done through the magma river, so that's another example. So, I mean, in theory it can be nice, but AI just spins. So, like, the issue is the AI used it really poorly, whereas in theory it could potentially be a feature, like you were talking about. So that's my crash course anyway. I gotta make a phone call, so I'll be back in a sec. And then, I actually have to, after the phone call, I'm gonna have to walk out for about 10-15 minutes, but I'll be back anyway. Or maybe it would be better to, I don't know, we'll see. I might have to kill the stream now and then, because I'm gonna be eating after, so does it make any sense? Probably not. But anyway, I'll be back anyway. We'll figure it out. All right. So it does look like I'm going to have to kill the stream. It's a shorter than usual one, but we still got a fair bit of work done. We got the transmissions upgraded to 2019 edition triggers. We redid the base layout for Mongo in terms of his actual base layout, not his base layout in the AI script. We added a new expansion for Crack and sort of cleaned some of this area up. We cleaned some of the ice. We added these features over here. A pretty nice rework, all things considered. And at some point, I'm going to have to make a tiling bridge variant for this area. I honestly don't really think that this area ties itself together very well. And I wonder if there would be a way to add, like, maybe an expansion here. There originally was a base over here, like a resource area over here, but I ended up removing it because I felt like it was kind of it was too much, like too many resources for a map that was going to end so soon. Now with the changes to the map where I'm going to actually try to make it a more skill testing experience, a more involved experience, I actually want to see if I can just change that up a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, maybe it would make sense to re-add an expansion over here in this area, rework some of this area, and, you know, you got this, like, lake thing, which is kind of neat, I suppose. And otherwise, the other thought that I had was to maybe reorganize this base over here, the quote-unquote natural, but then actually make a new natural base for the player down here, Darian, me, you, and expand this area out a little bit, like sort of, you know, close up some of these gaps and tie this whole area together. What? I don't know what happened there. Right, like we can do a reverse ramp over here. And I don't know what it'll actually look like. The final cut anyway. I don't think I understand what was going on there. Anyway, we can mess around with that a bit more later, but the plan is there. And I think it's a good one. Right, so instead of having this water here, we can seal this up and extend the dirt a bit. Nice. Yeah, looking good. We'll add a base over there, and we will probably add a base over here, and we'll have to move this one around a little bit. I kind of like that it's easily accessible and out in the open, but I don't know if I want to... I don't know how I want to handle that. I'll mess around with that later on. But that's that. So we will continue to tweak this map as time goes on, and at some point I think I'd like to add a reverse structure ramp, outpost ramp over here somewhere. But we'll see what happens there. And that will do it for us today. We will be back at some point in the next few hours with Wicked Reality, so stay tuned for that. And we'll also be playing that tomorrow, I think. But we'll see what I have to do otherwise, time-wise. And that's it. Bye. Kisses.